Hey everybody, it's Ben in Beta, and today I wanted to give you an update on the Tacoma Overland build, where we added some Trailhunter parts to the TRD Off-Road, as well as just an update on the last trip we took overlanding. So first up, I imagine many of you are here because you want to know about the Trailhunter parts that we added to the Tacoma. So the first Trailhunter part that we added were the rock sliders. Originally, I had gotten some rock sliders from Cali Raised. I ordered them back in late February, early March. It took about 3 months before they were shipped and sent to me. And when I got them, I started to put them on, and unfortunately they didn't fit because the holes were just a little bit off of where they needed to be for my Tacoma. That did bum me out a little bit. I reached out to Cali Raised. I sent them some videos for their engineering team, and they came back and gave me a few options. They said I could return them. I could also exchange it for a new set, and they would send them pretty quickly. Or if I had the tools, they'd tell me kind of how to modify the rock rails to fit the Tacoma. I don't really have the necessary tools to do the modifications. And in the end, I decided to return them. And I'll talk about why in a minute. But I want to say that Cali Raised was awesome to work with. They gave me no guff whatsoever about the return. And I'm really impressed with the company. In the future, I might pick up some stuff from Cali Raised. But in this case, I decided not to go with their rock sliders. One reason that I decided to return them was when I ordered them, they were pretty much one of the only companies besides Westcott that had any kind of rock sliders for the Tacoma. And really what I wanted were the Trailhunter rock sliders from Toyota, but they weren't available yet. Since that time, those rock sliders have become available. And the Toyota ones are lighter and they're easier to put on. So that was the second reason why I decided to return the Cali Raised ones. While I think they're beefier, they could probably handle more weight. They are a little more complicated to get onto your vehicle. They have a lot of extra parts to it. I felt like the instructions could have been better. Like I didn't actually get any instructions with the set. I had to watch a YouTube video, which could probably be a little bit better produced and give you a little bit better instructions. It wasn't hard to figure out what to do, but I think they could have done a little bit better job in those areas. Now, this is a brand new product. These things happen. They'll work all that stuff out. And Toyota ones actually came with instructions, and they were only 10 bolts on each side. It took hardly any time whatsoever to put them on, and everything matched up perfectly as it should from Toyota. So that's the reason why I decided not to go with the Cali Raised rock sliders and purchase the Trailhunter ones. I think the before and after look-wise definitely looks better with the rock rails. Another thing that's really great is I was able to use them as steps so I can reach my tent, or when I'm putting up my awning. Makes it really easy to kind of step up if I need to. That wasn't something I was actually expecting, but it worked really well for that. So now I've got a little bit of Trailhunter DNA in the TRD Off-Road, and that was one of my intentions when I purchased the TRD Off-Road, is to kind of add some of that Trailhunter DNA. I am going to be adding at least one more part from the Trailhunter coming up. That's on back order, unfortunately, but hopefully that'll be here before our July trip and I can put it on then and we can talk about it at that time. Let me know in the comments what you think of the rock sliders, how they look, if you have used any from other companies and you like them or not. If you have the Cali Raised rock sliders, tell me what you think of them. Again, I think it's a great company. I wouldn't hesitate to purchase from them again in the future. The Trailhunter rock sliders were cheaper, which allowed me to purchase another accessory in the Trailhunter line that I can add to the Tacoma. So another update on our overland build out. In the first couple trips, we used that giant Contigo container to put kind of all of our stuff into the vehicle. Basically what I found out with that was it kind of kept me less organized than I wanted to be at camp. And last fall, I had purchased from Flex their stack packs. It's a set of 3 packs that are waterproof of different sizes, and they stack together. They're quite well built. You can take them apart and move different pieces to different parts of the camp, but you can also just leave them outside. And that was a pretty big game changer for me. So after the trip with Misty, we basically took everything out of our boxes, reorganized everything into those 3 Flex packs, and we were able to easily fit everything and have a little bit of extra room. And this last time then at camp, I was much more organized. I was able to keep things outside, and I didn't have to feel like I had to constantly shift things between inside and outside if it was going to rain or if we were going to go for a hike or whatever. And that works out pretty well. So organizationally, we did make that change. And in the future, I don't know if I'll have to purchase any more stack packs, but I could, and I can certainly add to that system. But that worked really well. You can get those stack packs from many different companies. And the Flex ones just happened to be on sale when I was looking. But you can get them from Milwaukee and DeWalt and from Harbor Freight. They're good because they are waterproof. They have good sealing on them. They close really good. You can lock them if you want to. And this one also has wheels on the bottom one. So once I bring everything out, I can wheel it to where I want. Just makes it easier for carrying things around and a little easier in your pack. So that's kind of the big update on changes to the Overland build at this point. Another lesson I've learned in the first couple trips is just trying to get that weight distribution correct. And with that big box, that made it really hard. With the smaller boxes, I could divide them up and try to get the weight distributed between the back and the front of the bed and both sides. So it's not all on one side or the front and the back. And that's been really helpful too. And actually, I have a little bit more space in the bed than I did with that big container. But one of the other lessons that I've learned is with all that weight in the back, you're basically going to be hitting your bump stops quite a bit. So the rear coils in the Tacoma TRD Off-Road will probably need to be beefed up at some point at the minimum just to kind of handle that extra weight. That was something I was kind of expecting, but basically I'm already feeling that. And you do bottom out and hit the bump stops a little bit more often than when you're not leading down at all. It's not really terrible. If you go slow enough, it's not a problem. So I might end up beefing up the coils or suspension in the future. We'll see how that goes. But it probably won't happen this year. Then on this last trip, I got to try some more difficult trails. And I got to do a little bit of mud, which was great. So I got to kind of see how the tires performed and all that and how the truck was going to perform. And I also used the multi-terrain select and crawl control system and tried those out a little bit for the first time. I've been just using 4 high and 4 low in the past, but I decided to try that out on this trip a little bit and they worked really well. A couple other things I would say about the Tacoma is that I've had absolutely zero issues going from 4 high to 4 low anytime I've used it on the trail. So it's been really good. I know I've seen some other channels where they've struggled a little bit to go between high and low or to lock the differential, and I've had no problems with that at all. But your mileage may vary on that. No issues for me. So far this year, all of my trips have been about just exploring, having fun out in the backcountry a little bit, but also getting used to the vehicle and just trying to make sure we work out all the kinks before our larger trip in July. I've learned lessons on every one of the trips. I've learned that my vehicle is more capable than I thought. There's been a few times where I've driven around obstacles because I wasn't sure how it was going to handle them. But this last time I went out and tried, like I said, more difficult trails and handled everything that I threw at it without any problem. I haven't been on the hardest trails ever, but these are rated 3 and 4. And that's probably what we're going to do for most of this year anyway. So as long as I can handle those, I feel pretty confident in what we're doing with our build and with the TRD Off-Road. This trip, we went out to an area that we've been at before. It was actually the area where I took the boys in the Tucson last year. We ended up having to park the Tucson partially up the trail because it got too difficult, but I was able to make it all the way to the end with the Tacoma without any issues at all. I didn't scrape anywhere. I didn't have any problems. There was some mud, as I said, and the truck handled it just fine. Unfortunately, the sign that said no camping beyond this point was still up, and I was unable to camp where I wanted to. After that, I decided to drive back to the area that we've been camping in quite a bit and try a different trail. And what I would say is the Tucson would probably not have made it to this site either, but the Tacoma made it just fine. We had the site completely to ourselves. There was a campground that's not connected to this trail system, kind of down the ravine a little ways, and I could hear some people every once in a while, but they were so far away I couldn't see them. It was a super quiet night. We had a great fire, and we got another thunderstorm, but Rue and I got several great hikes in. And even though it was just an overnighter, I had another great time, totally worth it and definitely rejuvenating. So that's the quick update on the Overland build with the Trailhunter accessories, as well as some lessons I've learned on recent trips. And I'm really curious what else you want to know about the Tacoma or the Overlanding build or any of the specific products you might see in the videos that I produced as well. It helps me kind of figure out what the next video should be, and I enjoy interacting with everybody too. So if you found this video entertaining, interesting, helpful, any of those things, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this video out with anybody you think might find it interesting. And thank you so much for watching. Remember, live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.